The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 22nd day of February, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool, and Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Sherry, how was your long weekend?
Very busy. Very busy.
Was busy mean productive and fun, or busy as in I didn't have time to enjoy anything?
Productive, not necessarily fun.
Oh. Oh, look, you know what I'm saying? Everybody can have fun, and it was about time I had me some. You know, I did some polo this weekend. Yeah.
Wow, Peachy, yeah. I saw you.
Yeah. You know one thing, I always forget when it comes to, rolling with the big boys that a glass of champagne cost $36. Like, I'm not talking about no big glass. I'm talking about this thin little plastic glass of thing.
A flute.
Yeah. A flute, $36. And so you know what? It's the experience. And polo is a great time to meet different people. And
you met some people.
Sherry, like other folks, thought that my jacket was pink, right? People like, oh, you look like a bus stop. Da, da, da. Well, folks, it was peach. Get your eyes checked. I know after, about, and I was all ladies on over 40, right?
I wasn't the only one.
I know your eyes go a little bit different as you get older, but it was clearly peach, folks. It was clearly peach. It was peach. But,
I sent you a message to say, hey, Pink Sand, I see you.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Peach.
Well, hold on. Sam Cat Play says, good morning. Did you stomp the divots, Jamal? Well, that's the first time I heard everybody talking about it. Soledad O'Brien, actually, she came over and introduced herself because my friend, he trains her horses. And she said it. I'm like, what a divot. Okay, this is definitely.
You didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew about that.
Well, I mean, you know a lot more than me, but that's no surprise.
Okay.
But hey, no, I didn't stomp the divots. But yeah, it was a great weekend, and well-deserved day off. But I did miss you all. Even you, Sherry. Even you.
Yeah. Let's take a moment. Okay, moment's done. But wow, Jamal. Okay.
Oh, you didn't hear that. Okay, you didn't hear that. Anyway.
That's all he missed, Demon.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we discuss social media etiquette. We have something to discuss, and also we're going to focus on the release of convicts back into society. We saw a recent situation last week where a gentleman was released, and the most confusing thing to me about the release is of no fixed abode. So we'll be discussing this is probably Sherry's area of expertise, so I'm probably gonna have a lot of questions. Honestly, I don't understand it, so folks, bear with me today. It's gonna be one of those days. The Daily Players will remember when. So a bit of history for you today, and I believe that most people are gonna have to Google the answer. So
good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not even just gonna pick on Sherry with that. But let's begin because something happened this past weekend in Bermuda where someone posted something on social media and someone else decided to screenshot their post, and send it to their employer. Now, you all know how I am. I'm always like, look, there are actions and there are consequences to actions, right? If there's, if it's necessary, right? Now, That said, here's what bothers me about this. Why not just say to the person or have a conversation with the person, you know what, Sherry? Being in your position, you probably shouldn't even be saying something like that. Right?
Right.
Okay. Or two, mind your business and keep scrolling. Like, it's not impacting your life anyway. What really bothers me about this, right? And again, we're probably all guilty of it, right? What really bothers me about this is the fact that someone saw fit with, to me, which once I saw it was a harmless comment, to really mess with someone's livelihood. And something about that tells me there's some angry, miserable people out there
Mm-hmm.
that really don't like other people. Because I wouldn't, honestly, folks, even if I don't like someone, there's just lines you don't cross. There are lines you don't cross. Like, for instance, if Sherry went on social media and said something about this show and her co-host, and it got back to me, well, I don't think she'll do that. You all don't know Sherry because she has no problem after the show and like it is. But she has no. I don't think that's her character. But if she did, I wouldn't be upset at what she wrote. I honestly wouldn't. I'd just be upset. Like, okay, why would this person send it to me? That's
Mm-hmm.
my first thing. It's not even about Sherry right now. Well, why would they do that? There's something about people, and especially in Bermuda, I've realized something growing up. And again, I repeat, I love Bermuda and Bermudians. But something I really realized growing up that really bothers me about small town is someone taking something to someone, someone receiving what they've gotten from that person, and not even questioning, why is this person bringing this to me? Why would this person do this to another person? I made a decision long time ago, and Sherry and I have had numerous conversations about this.
Mm-hmm.
Your enemy is not my enemy. Because that person has issues with you doesn't mean I'm going to have issues with them. We have this tendency to literally let people come between us. So the question of the morning, folks, based on what happened, is how can we improve social media etiquette in our community?
Yeah. You said some great points, Jamal. I'm gonna start off with the your enemy is not my enemy. Prior to social media, I have always been like that, and my friends are like, Sherry, but she didn't do it to me. They
Mm,
didn't do it to me. And until they cross me in that same manner, I'm gonna keep them where they are.
mm,
The other part is that social media is so tricky, and when I call it burns, when burns are carried to somebody else, are they carried to them in the same manner that it was intended? The other thing, Jamali, is my mama always tell me, don't mess with my money. If it's not harming anybody or doing anything to anybody that is gonna bring them some type of harm, why would you go tell and take and show their employer something that isn't necessary to do? It makes no type of sense. So how can we improve social media etiquette? Stop being so reactionary to everything. And every post isn't about you.
mm, mm,
That's the thing that annoys me. I could put up a
mm,
good quote and
mhm,
someone's immediately, oh my God, are you
mhm.
okay? Oh my
Yeah.
God. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And thank you for checking, because I
Mhm.
don't like when people post stuff and when you say, are you okay? They're like, why are you going to ask me that?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
wow, you just said you wanted to jump off a building.
Yeah.
But, you know, every post doesn't have to be about you, and it can just be about you
Mhm.
liked something that you saw, you
Every
know?
post doesn't have to be that serious. Every post doesn't have to be so personal. People joke, people have fun. It's not everyone's soapbox. It may be my soapbox. It may be Sherry's form of entertainment. I tweeted last night. Like, honestly, I know what makes me happy daily: watching Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp argue over sports. Right?
Right.
That's what makes me happy. Like, just watching. They literally constantly argue who's the greatest basketball player: Michael Jordan or LeBron James. At the end of the day, I know it's based on people's perspective and opinion, right? But I enjoy the back
Exactly.
and forth. My point is, pick what pick our battles. We need to
Yeah.
pick our battles, and part of our battles shouldn't be literally trying to get satisfaction out of someone else's downfall. At no point, folks, honestly, at no point, unless someone's committed a heinous crime against you, at no point should we be screenshotting something someone said that is not harmful to our community and
Right.
sending it to their employer. No, that said, there's another part of this. And again, we're all responsible for it. I always say, I say and do things where I know there's consequences. We also have to realize that there are people like that who exist. And so we need to better police what we actually engage with, who we engage with, and what we say on social media. Now, I'm not saying limit how we feel. What I'm simply saying is we know what kind of individuals exist, and we can possibly do a better job. So how can we improve social media etiquette? I think it starts with one word: respect.
Yeah.
Respect other people and their space on both sides. Go ahead, Sherry. Sorry.
And I was going to say, and respect for yourself, because unfortunately, social media can be savage, and like you say, it will always be out there. And so you have to do some self checks with yourself. Is this appropriate for what it is to put out there, and can it affect myself? So I don't do all of that. I just have never gotten into no type of Twitter beef, no Instagram, whatever the case may be.
We're gonna have to start something, but go ahead, Sam.
I'm barely on Twitter as it is, but just self-check, go over a post. How is this going to affect me in the end? What kind of job position? And the other key thing is have a private and a public page. You might just want to share that privately with people that you know and that you can trust, and then use a public page to do something different.
Got time to have two different pages. You all
plenty of people.
Yeah, that's because they got too much time. If you got that much time on your hands, just go become something else. Sheikah Rana, she says that was shady. That was shady in terms of basically screenshotting someone's post and sending it to their boss. It's a line. I just think there's a line you cross doing something like that. Sam Cat Play says, whatever it was petty. Folks are not in the business of policing their own actions and are so concerned about everyone else. The same people are probably the ones their employer needs to look at. Sam Cat Plays, she says, police yourselves is the etiquette for social media, point blank. Karen Simmons makes a great point here, though. You can't improve social media etiquette when people don't have moral etiquette to start with. Don't need to tear people down. Whoa.
That's what I was going to say in regards to Sam Cat Place's comment. At the same token, yes, but you need to have some type of moral compass within yourself to say that this is not appropriate, or this is something that shouldn't be put out there. Or again, just put it if a private group on Instagram, they have a friends only list. Use it, so go ahead.
I think this goes back to a conversation we had months ago, Sherry. We were talking about, and we're very respectful about this, like sending voice notes around and so on. Like, if Sherry don't mind me saying, well, I'm gonna say it anyway. She'd be like, "No, did you hear?" Like, she wouldn't send it. She'll just be like, "Jamal, did you hear that voice note?" And I'm like, sometimes I'll be like, "Yeah, I delete it right away," because I just honestly, folks, some voice notes I just don't listen to. Right? I'll rather take your word for it and so on, because I just don't want certain parts of things. No, for the sake of this show, sometimes I might actually say, you know what? Let me listen to see what this is about. But for instance, when I know something's been sent to someone privately and it gets, I don't do that, man. I couldn't imagine doing that to somebody. Like, even with my family, if one of my relatives is sending something outside of a group, and I just don't see the point because they're sending it to me. I think we have a lack of respect for one another's privacy. I think we have a lack of trust for one another. We have created something that honestly isn't helpful for any of us. And I think when you look at the situation where someone's screenshotting a post, right? I have a problem when someone's like telling me something and I know I need to let someone else know, hey, someone else said to me, forwarding that message, right? So I'll like probably just take the highlights from it and put it in there, right? But we have to do better. We have to do better. At no point should we be focused on taking someone's livelihood away when it's not creating a danger. I had a professor in graduate school. He said something. You know Barry Bonds, right? Baseball player. He
Yeah.
caught up in the steroid saga. And people were saying it was called Balco saga, right? And people were like, oh, he should go to prison for this and that. No, he's never been convicted of or found guilty or proven, right? Even though he is not going into the Hall of Fame, which is a joke itself. But this professor, Professor Gray, said, and it made sense then, it makes sense today. He said prison should be a place for those who are a danger to society.
Mm-hmm.
And what this person screenshotted did not make them a danger to the community nor their employer. Literally, what was put, and it's public, so I'm going to put it, was basically, it was addressing our next topic of the day. The focus was the release of a prisoner who was convicted of serious rape, right?
Mm-hmm.
And released before the 25-year sentence was up, right? Before 17 years.
Yeah.
And so all the person did was say, yeah, our laws are not adequate. They're not adequate. They're not adequate. That's all. That it wasn't a criticism of anyone involved.
Right.
But apparently, and this is what bothers the crap out of me about the civil service. When people say, well, civil servants work for government, they can't complain, they can't speak out. God damn, y'all a voter. Just say you can't vote. No, if you vote, you should be allowed to speak out. Don't give me that nonsense about being silenced because you're a civil servant. You should be able to say, no, I don't agree with this. This is wrong. It shouldn't put you in jeopardy if you're not directly impacting the safety of your colleagues and your country. No.
Yeah. Don't be naive. Know that you're being judged by what you post. And definitely, and you know, being in the line of work I was in Bermuda, you had to tread lightly in regards to some of the things that you have said. I have seen where, you know, colleagues have said things and have been talked to about. There is somewhat of a fine line in regards to confidentiality. So you have to be careful of that. I know I posted one time and where the client was talking and I posted free the files, but you know, because people are talking about stuff that isn't true. And then what happens on social media, everybody runs with it. Everybody's, you know, it gives it so much life. They start doing voice notes and sending them around and it becomes really unsettling of what's not the truth. However, in this particular instance, if you're not particularly condemning the person itself, it sounds like they were just condemning the system. That's the truth.
That's it. Michelle White says social media has been around long enough for users, especially adults, to manage their own engagement on social media. Be responsible for your own action is key. Pyramid Christine says, judge not that you not be judged. Matthew 7 verse 1. I think that's Matthew, right?
You go, Jamal.
See, you all think I'm not hip. I know what I'm talking about now. Michelle White says, if an employer wants to know about you, they will check themselves. That's why you must be careful and exercise personal responsibility. Also be cautious with who you accept as contacts too. Happy and Stevenson Swan sharing.
The inner issues that some people are dealing with can be deadly. To screenshot something and send to employers beyond serious. Shaking my head, say it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Neeks Ibel says everyone has a right to their personal opinion. Well, I don't necessarily. You know how I feel about this, folks. You know how I feel about this. Opinion is the lowest form of intelligence. And I don't necessarily. I get her point, but I that's a stretch. That is a stretch because opinion is the lowest form of intelligence, folks.
The thing about it that
hold on, let me finish. Not only is it the lowest form of intelligence, but it's also dangerous to act as if every opinion holds value. We can't necessarily look at it like that. However, I think your point is people shouldn't be punished for non-serious or non-threatening opinions. This just because this person works somewhere doesn't mean that their opinion should be silent. So I think that's your point, and for that I agree with it.
Okay, all right, you got it, Jamal. That's fine. Okay.
Oh, you had nothing else to add. Okay, Sean Smith, for you sharing.
The individual that screenshot that post and sent it to the person's employer is just demonstrating their character. And
Yeah.
I think it's a balance on both ends. The person
Mm,
who posted it needs to be careful,
mhm,
um, differently in regards to who's in your circle, and the person that screenshot it makes no sense.
mhm.
It the it just makes no sense to me at all
Yeah, I
because
think you're making sense. I want to touch on, you said something just now. There is both sides, because let's say a police officer, and I don't mean to pick on police, but let's say a police officer went on social media, and I think recently, like late last year, must have shared a video of an accident or something, right?
mhm,
I think that's something where we may say, okay, someone needs to be reprimanded, right? Right. So
mhm.
I think there are incidents where it is causing grief or harm to the greater community. But what I think this is what we're trying to do is say people should not be silenced for simply being members and humans and members of the community who have opinions like that. That's it. I think we're treading dangerously, because let's be honest, we all have, most of us have personal social media pages, and most of us, regardless of how funny or how much drama we avoid, may share or uh, engage with something that probably isn't in the best light of
Yeah.
our professional lives. That's just what it is. But I just feel like there's lines, and we have to find that, that line. What is it? What is that line not to cross?
It's not what's not to cross, Jamal. If I send you a voice note or something that is very personal that I saw X, Y, and Z, it's not for you to then go put it in a group chat. It's not for
Mm,
you to go and so I think we part of the etiquette is being very strategic in who we share information with
mm,
because the culture of today is let me oh girl did you hear oh guys this is what's but and we forward things that was sent to you in confidence. Jamal knows
mm.
if I say something real nice to him I let him listen blue
She
ticket and
deletes
then
it.
I delete
Hey,
because
folks,
he's
she
not
deletes
forwarding
it.
these nice things that I'm saying.
I'm gonna get fast though. I'm gonna get fast. I'm gonna get. Thankfully, Leanna don't delete her nice stuff to me. She just calls me and doesn't type it.
But I think it was a young gentleman that was an issue going on at some point, and this man had a something to say about it. I feel like he put it in a group note, and then it's sent around, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, he's right about this child." His that
Uh,
yes, he is, but in his opinion, but I shouldn't know about that.
yeah. Let's finish these comments, then bring Lee Annie in. Neek Zival says yes, leaking information on an actual case is different from an opinion that falls into breaching. Philip
Yeah.
Trott and Traveling Trotty for you, Sherry.
Teachers comment on their issues with the education system all the time. What you gonna do? Screenshot and send it to the minister next? Get a life. There are some organizations that have policies to prohibit an employee from speaking out against the company. I have seen that before.
Yeah, but again, this case, she was not speaking out against the company. She just
Mm,
agreed with someone in the public. At the end of the day, I don't think anyone in their right mind is necessarily gonna speak about their company in public. And we all need to, self-police ourselves. Like, if
yes.
we're in a space, let's be honest, if you're working, and I said this publicly, if you're in a space where you feel the need to complain about a company in public, then there's other things that you need to do. You need to consider. That's all I'm going to say. I've been guilty of it. Trust me. Let's bring in
Gosh.
Leanna Lambert to the
Because I
conversation.
mean, let me TDH.
Good,
You
good,
got my
good.
Twitter fingers today.
Well, happy Tuesday, Lee. Good morning.
Happy Tuesday and good morning, guys. I missed
Morning.
you. I don't know if Jamal missed us, but I missed you guys.
At
I
first, I
missed you,
said it first.
Lee.
I said it first this morning. Okay.
Do you
Thank
like my print?
I do. I love, love, love.
you.
What is it called, Jamal?
I thought she was
Black and
gonna
white.
ask me, thank God.
The
I'm not ready
audience
for
is going to tell
trivia.
you. The audience will tell you what print it is.
Well, can I ask Leanna how her long weekend was? You trying to get me in trouble?
My long weekend was just as busy as Sherry's. It was productive but busy. We had a all women's running road race come to the island, and we had a chance to go out there and meet and greet and, give a few cocktails. Contrary to popular belief, people do drink and run.
Oh, so that's the new Lucasade or whatever it was called. But
Pretty
Lee,
much.
I got various pictures of Leanna this weekend, folks. In action, people were sending
Forward
me
it to me.
Yeah. Oh, no.
We were just talking about forwarding.
Look, the people that was like, they were like, please send to Leanna. So I didn't just forward to her. They were like, oh, please send to Leanna. So I saw Lee out there doing her thing. No days off. No days off. No days off. Well, Lee, Philip Trott says dog tooth. Is that the patent?
Close.
Oh.
Close. It's houndstooth. Yes.
Houndstooth.
Oh.
There we go.
Well.
Very, very old print.
Oh.
Very vintage print. But anyway.
The 1980s.
These crumb snatchers, I tell you.
Yeah. Tell us what you like. Lee, did you want to share an opinion on this, or you want to go to your news? This is an interesting one.
I actually have an opinion on this, and it's twofold. I think I've already stated on this show about the fact that we've become a society that is very sensitive. I don't know when opinions were just the worst thing ever. I feel like that's what, we build our foundation on, is the fact that we have opinions and we're able to share them. However, in a workplace, social media and the internet is forever, right? So if you're gonna speak out about your company, I don't think that social media is the place to do it. Have healthy dialogue, one-on-one conversations with people. But if you know that the internet is one of those things that is going to be permanent, that's just something you need to stay away from if you have a strong opinion about your workplace.
Indeed. Folks,
she wraps it up nicely.
Interesting times. So let's get over to the news break, and we'll be back. We're going to be discussing the release of a prisoner who did not serve us full time. But I'm confused by the whole no fix the bird thing. So we're going to have to discuss this. I'm confused. Lee, over to you.
Thanks, Jamal and Sherry, and good morning to everyone that's tuned in with us today. I hope you all are having a great start to your day. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, in today's top stories, the Bermuda Union of Teachers have confirmed that it has passed a vote of no confidence in the Commissioner of Education, the Permanent Secretary, and the Minister of Education, with the motion passing with a majority of 72% of the members present in the meeting. Now, the motion was presented during an emergency general meeting that was held remotely on Thursday, February 10th. Releasing a statement, the union have stated that this vote is a direct reflection of many months of disrespect, disregard, and distasteful coercion toward their body of professional educators. Now, the vote of no confidence, the union says, is the first step in a process which they hope will adequately address the valid concerns facing the BPSS during this pivotal time of education reform. Now, according to the union officials, there is a need to see effective and authentic action beyond the lip service delivered to the wider public. The BUT membership representatives and executive have said they will continue to meet as they collectively move forward while advocating for positive change in solidarity. In other news, health officials last night confirmed another COVID-19 death, bringing the death toll from the coronavirus to 123 since the start of the pandemic. Now, there were 107 positive cases recorded from 6,642 test results that came back since the last update. The island now holds a positivity test rate of 1.6%. There are 204 active cases and 199 were being monitored by health officials. There are 5 people in hospital, but none in intensive care, while 113 have recovered since the last update. Now, offering her condolences to the loved ones of the deceased, Minister of Health Kim Wilson said outbreaks have been happening in social settings as there is an increase in social mixing at bars, restaurants, and parties. Now, she says simple things like sanitizing hands, wearing a mask, and physically distancing are not being done adequately. She said everyone should still be responsible as the pandemic is not yet over and we need to take action to remain safe. And a civil service watchdog has stated that the island's bus service needs to be better organized and develop clearer communication to signal cancellation to travelers. Victoria Pyramid, the ombudsman, said that the service had been under pressure as economic problems had affected maintenance and the replacement schedule for buses. But she said that a report revealed that the Department of Public Transportation needed to improve information systems for travelers, especially elderly ones, and must become more sensitive to the requirements of people who were not familiar with the internet. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 69 and a low near 62 degrees. Today, we will see a mix of sun and cloud with 1 or 2 passing showers. Dominant high pressure will bring mostly settled conditions through the week with plenty of sunshine and slightly warming temperatures. The odd light shower is possible over the next day or so. Tonight will be partly to mostly cloudy skies with the chance of a shower. That's all for our daily hour news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Now let's head back to Jamel and Sherry, who love to share the news with me in today's studio for our daily focus.
I'm confused. What happened just now? My fingers weren't on anything.
Gosh, that was hilarious. I looked up. I'm like,
I was confused.
and I'm like, Jamel, look up.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on here? You all just trying to include me in the news break.
It goes right into what today's thing is, Jamel. It is single tasking day. It is celebrated this day to one of the long lost habits in this busy world, single tasking. Did you know single tasking can make you more productive while conserving energy? Yes, while people are loading on being able to multitask and getting many things done, it results in half finished job. So single tasking is more
that should be sent to every employer out there about single tasking, man. Because think about it, every employer is trying to must be able to multitask. Someone else said it's 222 or something like that.
Yes, I was going to get to that.
That's what that means.
Well, people, it's probably a lot of weddings going on today just because of the number. So yeah, and then it's Be Humble Day. So everyone knows what humbleness is. If not, I hope you can go online and look that up. But be humble, and as well as single tasking. I feel like those are real good hand in hand today.
Okay.
But yeah, today is 2/22/22.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not adding that up. Math wasn't my thing. Lee, thank you so much for that, and we'll see you tomorrow. And I promise Sherry won't interrupt your news break tomorrow.
Your fault, Sherry. You see that, right? Right under the bus. Under the bus.
I didn't do nothing. I ain't got controls.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Later, Lee. See ya.
See ya.
All righty. Rosalind Famous says, Sherry, I was sad you weren't on yesterday, Mother Language Day. So I guess we missed the day yesterday. Yeah. Sherry just, she do that to you all. I wouldn't have done that. I would have been here and I would have did it. But
you could have.
Oh, but we're going to take a quick break. Folks, very important conversation coming up. We want to discuss the release of a prisoner back into society. I think we just have a lot of questions around this. So we want to involve the community as much as possible and maybe get some questions or comments to the Attorney General or those who are responsible. All right, stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Salter's bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
This month, we're again featuring an important dealer in the whole food industry, Aurora Natural Products, who started in Connecticut in 1998 with 4 employees and now employ hundreds, all devoted to producing a wide variety of all-natural and organic goods to an ever-expanding market. Aurora have become a national leader in the whole food distribution business and are ever mindful of the big picture, monitoring the path of each and every ingredient from their stores to your table. Try Aurora Natural Raw Shelled Pistachios. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Let's get right to the conversation. So for those of you who don't know, I'm just going to go to the Royal Gazette just to bring up the article so we can titled by the Royal Gazette, Grim Reaper sex offender to be released, minister announces. This was last week. And basically a man who broke into a teenager's bedroom and raped her is to be released from prison on Monday. That was yesterday. The Ministry of Legal Affairs confirmed yesterday. So Mr. Selassie, Tawode Selassie, was sentenced to 25 years for the 2005 assault on a 15-year-old girl. And what I think is there's so many interesting things to me about this, but one of them is that on the actual poster, it said that the gentleman, address was no fixed abode. So the first question is, well, I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions to begin with, but how is this community supposed to feel safe and confident knowing that someone's literally seems like they've just been thrown back out into society? Like, is he given an opportunity to support himself? Because if there's no job or opportunity, then where does this person turn? If they have nowhere to live, where does this person turn? There are so many questions with this before we even get to the case of like whether or not he should have been released, or if laws need to be changed so that one has to serve more than, I guess, 2/3 of their sentence.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I read it 2 different ways. Mm-hmm. That it was listed in, this is who he is, and he is of no fixed abode, meaning that he had no address prior to being placed in prison, or it no longer exists. 2, the other part of he's being released to no fixed abode. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I would want clarity on both, mm-hmm. Because if he had maintained the address while he was in prison, then it would have said he was from Warwick, Pembroke, or all of those kind of things. Mm-hmm. He may not have an address. Once he went into prison, whomever he was living with or whatever might have said, no, he no longer lives here. So that may be the sense of technicality with that. However, my understanding is that they must have someone where to live. They must be seeking employment, so forth. And as a person who has counseled sex offenders in the States, they cannot be around children. They cannot be in places near, and so forth. Part of my issue with the system in Bermuda is, where is the counseling? Where is the support that somebody needs? Being in prison for 17 years or however long he is, have we reformed him to a certain extent? Not completely, because my understanding and my practices that I've been involved with, you're never really cured. So you go into prison, to me, you're not really cured. However, you are going to be like any other kind of substance abuse addict, go through needing supports for the rest of your life. And are those things being put in place for this person for them to not reoffend?
Well,
feels like it's just being set up.
Like you're getting 0 to 100. But so as far as the what you mentioned, the first part. So I agree. It can be read both ways. I would think that there's a system in place where no fixed abode, you're not just putting them out there. I would think so. And I think Traveling Trotty says here, I thought Bermuda had a transitional living center for inmates when they are released with limited resources. So Sherry, what you said makes sense. Probably when he was in prison, he didn't have an address, and then he'll probably have one coming out or whatnot. So that makes a bit of sense. But I want to touch on, because again, you said you mentioned the rehabilitation, right? Would it not make sense to let the public know if that's been taken place, or is that a matter of privacy?
Matter of privacy, unfortunately. It's a matter of privacy.
Mm.
And on the other part of no fix abode, it may just be that they don't want the public to know exactly where he is, because we are 21 square miles.
Yeah, but for the safety of the public, I think that the neighbors should know, especially neighbors if they
Yeah.
have children. Neighbors, they have a right to know. I know in many places in the States, I don't know if it's nationally, but you have to register as an offender in that specific area or city, town, state, right?
Yes.
I think the public has a right to know. Now, to the question, folks, how can we improve the prison release situation? Because a lot of people are uneasy, feeling that all laws shouldn't apply to all crimes. There are people who believe that, based on my notes, this one only has to serve 2/3 of their sentence. Parole is at 1/3, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that, we understand that. Now, a lot of people were saying no, because of how heinous this crime was. This should have been a situation where the person served out their entire sentence. Do we agree with that? Is that a way that we can improve the prison release situation, or should our focus be on reforming and rehabilitation?
It comes down, Jamal, to numbers, and let's be honest, he costs money to be in prison. And you got more people coming in, and it becomes a whole shuffling act in regards to, where are we going to spend our money? Unfortunately, but that's the reality. The other part of it is that reform, yes, and we would hope that he was giving some type of rehabilitation that is required to be continued. He should, part of his probation should be that he maintains on probation for the remainder of his sentence. And those are the things that are missing. There was a period of time we weren't told that people were being released, right? It's only been here lately, and I'm gonna say the last 10 years, that this has been made. So with that being said, confidentiality was at the top of the list as to why people didn't want to and want other people to know. Hence why I said they probably left off where he lived due to that part. It was a little bit of give and take, and we're going to release who he is. We're going to release this, that, and the other, but we may not tell people exactly where he lives. But to your point, I should know next door if I have a 15-year-old girl that is my child or my niece or whomever, that this person is living right next door to me. I do have a right to know that.
And that's my point right there. That's where I sum it up. Traveling Trotty says, no need to have a bird or a job, as he was released after serving sentence. I understand he is not on parole, and not conditions, and those conditions are not necessary, I'm guessing. Take your time, Rose. Take your time. But no, I guess the question to the audience, if anyone wants to answer this, how can we improve a situation like this? Should a person like this have to serve out their entire time? Now, Sherry, you made a great point. You said it comes down to numbers and money. And then on the other side, there are people who say, well, look, what's more important, our safety or money, right? It's a balancing act, because think of the victim. Bermuda's only so big, right? It's a great chance she's gonna bump into this individual. Again, this is one of the most heinous crimes. This is as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
So we've got to figure out, how can we improve this? Because at the end of the day, let's say he served his entire time, there will still be questions. Oh, maybe the time was too little, or are we sure that he has had the right amount of rehabilitation to make sure that he doesn't reoffend?
Rehabilitation will be continued for the rest of his life. That's what it needs to be. And it's difficult for Bermuda. It is very difficult.
Mm,
I've dealt with people here in the United States where they
mm,
can move to a different state, they can go live out in the country, go live out in the mountains. There's so many restrictions as a
right.
sex offender. You can't go to McDonald's, you can't go to any restaurant with a playground, you
Mm,
can't be in so many feet of a school. We
mm,
don't have that luxury in Bermuda. And
mm,
so the question is, how can we keep the community
mm,
safe
mm,
when there's a school right next to store to your fix the bed,
mm,
so
mm.
it's very difficult for Bermuda to put things in place. And I feel like the only thing that you can is
Yeah,
mandate that
yeah.
there is therapy and reform for the entirety. That's the only thing.
You make a great point, because if the let's say this person's being released and their homestead is right next to a church with a nursery, right? What are you going to tell the family that they have to sell the house, or tell the individual he can't stay at the one place that is home? Like I get you, Sherry, I get you, but that's why we have people who get paid a lot of money to write policy and legislation and vote for people to even pass those kind of bills to keep us safe. Um, Altogether, we actually may find solutions, but I think it's valid to have these questions. Michelle, wait for
Yeah.
you.
No, Sherry, it shouldn't be about the money. They are warning us that he is dangerous, yet release him without the assurance that he has been rehabilitated. Confusing. No, it shouldn't be about the money, but that's the reality. And
Mm,
the state of what the government is, they're trying to cut costs wherever it's possible. I'm just saying.
indeed, indeed. Traveling Trotty says, do laws have to be changed to ensure persons have to serve their entire sentence? That's a good question.
And
That's a good question.
and
Uh,
see, for me, Jamal, yes, it's about the sentence, but has he been reformed? He will
right.
never be reformed. So for me, I need to know, is he in a continuous program? Like you have NA, you have AA, and all of these programs. Is he going to be monitored and supported in that way so his behavior does not change? We can
Mm,
keep him locked up for 27 years. He could get out and on the 28th year reoffend if he has not been giving any help. And so
yeah.
for me, it's like, has he been receiving any type of help?
Yeah. Karen Simmons, she says, have a collective approach, government and or social agency, to transition a person from prison into suitable accommodation and employment. Rosalind, famous question. Is there effective rehabilitation of any kind in our prison system? No. Keyword effective, folks. Effective.
Mhm.
There's one thing to say there's a rehabilitation taking place, but has it been proven to be effective? What are the results? Have we released people? Have they reoffended? So I think that's a valid question. And I think the public, we should be asking those questions to get the answers,
Yeah.
right? There should be somewhere where we can go and find out what's the reoffend rate of those who have been released for these serious
Mhm.
kind of crimes. Neek's eyeball for you.
Put more services in place. This can help Bermudians get employment. A lot of qualified Bermudians have no work. Okay, we're gonna switch reels. It's the employment and work and housing is, yes, very important, but it's very surface. Rehabilitation is
Mm,
at the forefront of those things staying in place for a long period of time. If this person is not rehabilitated, which means for the rest of his life, we
mm,
will be back in the same position about dollars and space and time.
mm,
Work and employment, yes, very important. Rehabilitation is at the top of the list.
mm,
That's how
mm,
we're going to keep everybody safe.
mm, mm. Interesting. We've got Michelle's over on YouTube, says public confidence in the rehab process. All we hear is when someone is released, yes, serve time, but who will keep tabs on him? I'll know that word, but yeah,
Recidivism.
yeah, whatever. It's so real in Bermuda. And we also have Renee Birchall over on Facebook. She says there needs to be ongoing rehabilitation for the rest of his life period. Is this the case though? Do individuals receive lifetime rehabilitation?
Not that I'm aware of, Jamal. Is usually that is a condition, whatever his
Mm,
conditions of his probation is or
okay.
parole. It will be that. I
Mhm,
know in the United States, conditions of their probation is that they have to attend
mhm,
rehabilitation, counseling, and so forth, so many times a week, every
mhm,
day, or whatever the case may be. And there is contact with the probation office in regards to that. If they miss it, they go back. So it just all depends on what the conditions of his probation is, and if there's any.
Rehabilitation is not an overnight process. It takes a lifetime, says Bermuda Girl. And I think everyone's aware of that. I guess the challenge right now that we're having is people are not feeling safe or confident in the current process. People are not feeling safe or confident in the current process. And I think people have a right to ask for more information about rehabilitation and maybe revisiting laws or policies, if that's in case what needs to be changed to ensure that certain crimes, they have to fulfill their entire sentence, right? So I think that's what the public seems to be asking for. I think this is a delicate situation because, like Sherry said, Bermuda's unique. Bermuda's unique because of its size, right? There are so many different small islands, but some islands have mountains that people could go off and live in and so on. We have no mountains. We have no areas where you can just get away. We have no other islands close to us where you can just take a boat and just go and live over there. Bermuda is I don't think we really understand how uniquely small we are. So this is it's very complex. And I don't think this is one where we say, oh, the government just needs to do that. This is it's very complex because, believe it or not, and this may upset some of you, right? But believe it or not, every human still has rights. And the government has to tread lightly to ensure that once someone has, served their time, that they're not treading on an individual's rights. And I know you may feel, oh, this person committed this crime, they don't deserve rights, but that's just what it is. Karen Simmons for you, Sharon.
Discussion that rehabilitation programs in
Westgate.
Westgate has been discontinued in the UK. So the effectiveness of the program chosen and continued after the key to confidence from public. I think I messed up on that.
So the public's effectiveness of the program chosen and continued after is key to I get it. She's saying the effectiveness of the program chosen, whatever that is, and continue is key for the public to have confidence in it. TJ Clark says, bring in mental castration or don't release him. Wow, that's extreme talent. Renee Sherilyn Simmons for you, Sherry.
Is he stable enough to be released? He could come out and reoffend just to be returned. He may prefer to be in prison rather than face society, so he needs to be monitored. And there's different things. Sorry, go ahead.
In the U.S., there's a defined proximity for notification of release. Bermuda is so small, notification may need to be targeted. Shikarina, go ahead, Sherry.
Yeah. And I was going to say there's different things in regards to rehabilitation that can help with the feelings and urges that one may have as a sex offender. I have to talk to you about that offer, but
no worries. No, honestly, folks, you know me, I stay in my lane. That's why a show like today, I have more questions as a member of the community than statements.
But yeah.
Jerry deals with this kind of stuff. Let's just be honest. Like, she deals with this. She has maybe not from a law perspective, but actually from an emotional perspective, she has expertise with this. So I defer to her.
And I counseled sex offenders for a period of time, in adults and youth, because we can't forget that unfortunately youth are part of this equation as well. So I do know a little bit of just kind of the mental behind it. And the other thing is that they use tools such as polygraphs as well every so many months to ensure that. So it's a lot of things that the United States puts in place that I know Bermuda can, but again, it's money. And who's going to do it?
Talent TJ Clark says a child was impacted and to have the potential to do it again or impact the victim by seeing him live a normal life ain't right. And
nope.
I get you. I don't disagree with you. Sam Cat Place says absolutely they should serve out their sentence. They need all the services provided to them at the same time for rehabilitation. Makes you wonder if they are really rehabilitated after time is served. Honest, folks, I just hope these conversations make it to when our MPs come out and when it's time to discuss it with whoever the decision makers are. The one thing that our taxes should guarantee us is safety.
Yes.
And if we're not safe in our community, we have a problem. This is something that we can't let go until the next person is released. We need to carry these conversations on. This is not to pick on anyone who's served time and been released, but this is about the safety of our community, especially the most vulnerable in our community, which are the elderly and our children. We're going to take a quick break, come back to wrap it up. We have a daily play. And also, I'm going to remind you all of how to be eligible to be the next Sam Cat Place. In that $500 prize. You all acting like you don't want money. Just, hey, easy money. I see all those young folks like Talon over on Facebook. Make your move, bro. You want to get on YouTube. All right, stick with us. We'll be right back. We're going to tell you how you can be eligible to win February's $500 prize. You got about, 5 days left in February?
About that.
Yeah, about that. And then we'll wrap it up with the daily play and so on.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security. There's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All right. Thanks again to People's Pharmacy, One Communications, Medical House, and Lindos for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. Folks, don't forget, if you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like, and make sure you continue these conversations on to the water cooler, there's family events, and the office. Time for the daily play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Sherry, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, folks, help her out. It's a remember when. What was the name of the governor of Bermuda who was assassinated in the 1970s?
I defer to the audience. I have no idea, Jamal. None. I'm calling no names.
None.
None.
No one out there that can help her, huh? Wow, they got it. Easy.
Somebody got it?
Easy. Yeah. Easy.
Oh, all right. Karen's redeeming herself.
First name was Richard, but it was Governor Richard Sharples. She said Sir Richard Sharples, Renee Sherilyn Simmons, Pamela Wade said Sharples, Travon Trotty said Sir Richard Christopher Sharples.
Audience.
Rosalind says starts with an S.
Me and Rosalind's on the same page.
Christopher Sharples. No, it was Sharples. So the answer was Governor Richard Sharples was killed outside Bermuda's government house on the evening of March 10th, 1973, along with his aide-de-camp, Captain Hugh Sayers, and Great Dane, I believe it's pronounced Horsa.
Okay.
That
Definitely learned something today.
That's your history lesson today. Hopefully everyone learns something every day from this show. What's your wrap up for today? Final thoughts.
Social media etiquette, remember that the internet is forever. Be responsible with yourself and others. Be responsible, have some moral etiquette yourself. There's no need to pass on information that's not necessary. As far as the prison release, I rehabilitation, ongoing monitoring, and ensuring that safety is paramount. We need to make some changes.
I would agree. As far as social media etiquette, I just say don't. What's that old saying? Don't do to others what you won't want done to you.
Yeah.
I mean, like It's not cool, folks. Let's just be respectful and just think about what you wouldn't want people to do to you. As far as the conversation about releasing a prisoner, um, maybe we need to revisit the conversation. Maybe
Yeah.
we need, as a public, to educate ourselves more on the legislation and policies. But also, maybe these are the kind of conversations we need to continue to make sure that we feel safe in our community. So it's definitely worth having a conversation with those who make the laws and policies and see if there's anything that they can do. If you don't feel safe in the community that you live in and that you love, we've got a problem. I know you've
Yes.
got some daily inspiration for us, Sherry.
I do. You're not obligated to win. You're obligated to keep trying to do the best you can every day. Miriam Wright Alderman.
I like that. Do your best. Keep trying. And you said someone who was on this show recently has a birthday today.
Yes. Bruce Swan. Happy birthday, Brucey Bruce.
All right,
That's what I
Bruce.
call him.
Happy birthday.
222.
I saw a picture on social media, so I thought his birthday had passed. So I said happy belated. And so oh, it looks like
No.
I'm on time. So happy birthday to Bruce.
Yeah, they are cruising. Hadleen put it out there. They are cruising.
All right. Well deserved. Well deserved. Best time to go on a cruise when nobody else on there, apparently. That's what I'm hearing. I don't know. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, it's two something. It's all these twos today. Make it a safe and great Tuesday.
Good job.
I know. I'll get you free tickets when you first stand up. Holla.